Hello and welcome. This is the Daily Dharma, and my name is Dina. Thank you so much for joining. This is going to be another one of the pre-laid out readings. So I've really been enjoying this past week or so, and I did the pre-shuffles very thoroughly in the mixed shamanic deck, and I took only 2 cards from that deck today. The first one that came out, number 21, First Breath, Beginner's Mind, and number 24, Galactic Mushroom, the Divine Matrix. And then under the deck, we had a few cards showed themselves to me. So I got Winter's Dream, Gestation Period on the bottom of the deck. And then below that, 14, The Curse, 57, Unmarked Trail, Revelation, something showing itself, and 32, Jeweled Web, Connectivity. Excuse me, usually. As I start the channel, all of a sudden the throat's like... So a few things popping out right away about all of this. It seems to me that right from the beginning, the beginner's mind, it seems here that from an early age, you've been someone who has developed a personality, you or someone important in this situation. So flip and reverse as you find necessary for your situation. But I'm taking this as the reader, or excuse me, as the one I'm reading for here. So from an early age, you were somebody who was very resourceful, somebody who could always find the right thing to put into place. And it became part of your identity when you witnessed another individual either struggling or on any level too. At 222, it didn't have to be like struggling to put something together, like, oh, let me take that cap off that jar for you. But it could be partially, oh, I'm strong, I'm capable, let me help you carry this, let me help you carry your load. And so across different types of dynamics, different types of environments and situationships that have surrounded your life experience, you've been very capable, very efficient, and in that way very supportive and very grounding. You empower the other person's process by supporting them and showing up and inspiring and helping to push and motivate other individuals. But for some of us, I'm seeing that this takes more out of us than perhaps we've even recognized in the moment, because there seems to be, I was seeing this as an unexpected, unplanned sick day, and it doesn't need to be that you are physically sick or ill or injured. It seems like the retreat to one's blanket fort on some type of a level. And it seems like because of all the green energies surrounding this, it seemed like a very heart-based interaction and activation. So having understood that you're all of these things, balancing so many different responsibilities, other people's burdens, being the one that everyone calls for assistance and letting no one down but perhaps yourself, burning yourself out and needing this day of recuperation where we wake up and from the first breath, we're like, nope, not today. And we tuck ourselves right back in. And I'm seeing this as a different type of blowing off steam. I'm seeing this as indulging in either some smudge, some incense, some aromatherapy tucked into one's either bathtub or covers or something like that, or in the garden, somehow taking a step back from the demands of others, because it's like for me, this was also coming through as a play on the Mother's Day thing, where so often we can look back. I mean, speaking from my own experience, and maybe for some of you it'll play out in a similar way, but so my mother has died a few years back, and ever since she's been in spirit, I feel this connection, but I also feel this extreme inner longing, and also this remembrance, this reflection of times good, bad, indifferent, and otherwise. All of these things kind of come up, and whether or not we acknowledge it, all of that psychological baggage comes back for reckoning, I want to say. And so it's like, from an early age in our town, the annual fair always happened on Mother's Day weekend. And for us, we were kids. It's like, okay, well, that's the thing that everybody's doing, so that's what we're going to do. So the whole weekend revolved around everyone but mom. And how often is that the case? And I'm not saying that we all perpetuate these old stereotypes, but on the underbelly that came out recently, there's also the recognition of how we do this to our own inner divine feminine in this overachiever standpoint, like, oh, let me do it, I'm strong, I'm capable, I'm available. But then we're too drained to do those things that we're called to do, right? And it's almost like, well, we check that off the list as, but I was of service. I was indispensable. I helped another person. I saw them smile, and that's enough. But is it enough? If it were enough, we would all be these selfless individuals. But I'm seeing this first breath as like this first recognizing breath that that's not enough, that there's something else. So this was clarified by Earth and Empowerment 24 and 26. And the Galactic Mushroom card here is also the 24, this earthly matters coming in. It's like balancing the entire cosmos in heels while going backwards. And thinking that this is empowering our stance or earning us some type of respect. And then suddenly we've kind of gotten into a situation, male, female, or otherwise. This doesn't have to be a Mother's Day thing. It was just that was coming up as part of it. But where this shifts into like an everybody thing, it can often be where our lives become influenced to the extent that they become all about the demands of the external and no longer a manifestation of what is really calling us forward from that deep inner passion and knowing and bringing that forward instead. It's like all of these distractions have led us to perhaps some type of mind, body, or spirit overload where now it's like, I've got to take a day off. Do not disturb sign is on all doors and the ringer is off type of a thing. And having just this blank stare of like, oh my gosh, I just needed to do nothing for a minute and just to be at no one's beck and call and to know that everybody can figure out themselves for the moment. So this Galactic Mushroom comes out clarified by the 11 belief and 38 remembrance. It's almost to say that whether or not we had somebody modeling this selfless at their expense type of behavior, no matter how we've altered it, it seems that we have identified parts of our personality or our identity with the roles that we've been playing out in the public eye, in the public persona. The Many Masks card also showed itself in the pre-shuffle. And we have this first breath card. The individual is wearing a mask and almost like hunched over, like walking like an Egyptian instead of like somebody who's upright. So this is almost like that play on words coming through in the moment. Like part of this might have to do with more than just, so to speak, this incarnation. pushing us into this. This could be some type of societal legacy or expectation, such as that mother role thing, the archetypal energies, or some past life energies. However this feels right in your situation, there's a need to step back and rest and reflect upon the beliefs that have brought you into this state of having feelings of being drained. So, and then winter's dream gestation period, this could be a number of things, such as needing that rest or waking up from this overnight and having not felt fully rested, or feeling like you could sleep for another 10 years and still feel this sense of depletion. But there's this dream that's coming back. And for some, this may come on the heels of an emotional release or disappointment where something is made obvious. There's that grieving mourning period of acceptance and processing. And then this lifting one's head back up and saying, well, if my dreams are to be supported, then it's for me to do. So why not start right now? Because this time is a present as well, 11:11. And so getting back to the drawing board, bringing that paper, pencil, that sketch pad, that list of small actionable steps that are not about go, 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 do, but it's about perhaps the emotional context. There's a need to really even not go, not do, and also not to wait, but to sit very still in the completely liminal, not linear space where the mind may be speaking, but the heart is saying, I hear you, but right now I'm trying to feel how these words and how these thoughts feel in my body. What beliefs are they activating? And do these beliefs resonate with who and how I am? Do they honor and respect the soul and the sovereign self that I am here to be and become? So this heart activating remembrance of beliefs and their resonance and various residues from without are on our mind as we wake up from this dream. And this dream can also, on the flip side, also be like waking up from something like limerence, where it's like, oh well, everything's in good order, which everything is always in good order, but that doesn't mean that there's never space for us to use our voice. Voice is coming out quite a bit. We had voice on the pre-shuffle in this deck, and then throat chakra over here under the deck on the code cards. So moving in next, I wanted to, oh, and just a brief mention as well with the things that are underneath Winter's Dream, the Curse, Unmarked Trail Revelations, and Jeweled Web, and then Dust Devil, Moving Out of Stagnation was below that, and I didn't reveal what was below yet. Fortune's Wheel, Luck and Right Timing, and Lay of the Land, Ancestral Wisdom. So some of those cards keep coming up, but it's kind of talking about how this situation here, it's like she's got this tattoo on her bicep here. It's almost like it's been etched in her skin how to act, how not to speak, how to, just push that down and do it for the right reasons. This may talk about religious morality, judgment, coaching from an early age or otherwise. Gaslighting and abuse could be part of this for some people, but usually it's not quite as pronounced that, oh, well, there's this thing that I have never gotten over. It's more like this curse of always being the bigger person, or never wanting to make things uncomfortable. So just saying, isn't that nice? And just, seeking for something else. But in the moment, there's something that is worth enough of the marbles, let's say, that we feel that it needs to be spoken. And for some of this, collective, it could be people in your home, people in your family, loved ones that you want to keep around, that have gotten accustomed to you empowering their process at your expense here. And then it gets to be your time or your moment, and suddenly people are making it about them. That's kind of how it feels. And this need to just say, it's like feeling twisted up at the core of your heart and feeling boxed in and silenced, and that you shouldn't have to say anything, but there's this need to connect with everyone, perhaps like I heard the other day, like family meeting, perhaps connectivity, seeking like minds, seeking information, because there's something that we can speak into fruition if it's done in such a way to speak accountably about our take, our emotions, and what we are committed to change, and what we can and cannot stand for and with, and to not make it about other individuals, to ask questions. Anyways, all of these things are coming in as some type of discomfort with expressing ourselves. And the two clarifier cards on the deck here, the under the deck with Winter's Dream Gestation, what are we birthing? It's like there's some kind of a plan for the humanity, upliftment of the world with Gaia here, in flow with the divinity and the uprising of the feminine and masculine into their divinity, bringing them up out of the shadow, integrating both shadow and light to create a more compassionate individual. It was something about actor came up, a more compassionate actor. So do you feel like you're playing roles, like everybody is just kind of reduced to scripted narratives here? There's a way to honor the Divine Mother, the divine flow of the manifestation of femininity through all of us, whether we're one gender or several, whatever you identify, and to be able to honor the feminine in all of us. And that word honor and respect is so critical right now. You know, if you buy your mom a vacuum, for instance, then you best be the one that unpacks that and vacuums the floor with it. I didn't get a vacuum. So, anyways, that's the idea. It's like from an early age, I remember stories about, oh, a mom got an iron. That's like the symbol of the disrespected, undervalued mother, that she is valued for her role in what she can provide, and not for her hobbies or unique individuality, or, you know, her whatever it might be. So it's like, yeah, there's something here coming up with that. So the Kali deck, I wanted to bring out more cards, but I took what spoke. And so the first one coming out, I really enjoy this card, number 24, Matangi. Check her out. She's very interesting. This green color marked by the essence of the heart chakra in that glorious pink lotus. It's like she's being rebirthed from this gentle lotus, but she's got this parrot above her like this, and she's almost like pointing at her head with the parrot pointing the other way and saying, I remember this time you said this. I remember this happening and that occurrence. And I remember this from the past. And I remember how this felt and that felt. It's remembering and parroting, speaking in and speaking out. And when you said this, I felt and took it as this. Whether there's this discussion of individuals talking about misunderstandings, there's this Om symbol that's almost carved into her palm here, but it's bleeding. It's like the piece is at her expense somehow. She's been keeping this up, and her clothing is scanty but red. It's like all of this backwards in heels. It's like, I make this look good, but that doesn't mean it doesn't come with some type of a cost to me, right? So finance, other things like that. She's got this crown, this solar crown in a plexus color behind her, and that sword above her head. I can't remember what it's called, the curved feminine sword. Is it not a scimitar? Anyway, scythe. Isn't that what it's called? And it's like she's expressing from very deep needs and expressing her worth, her heartfelt worth and requirements of being honored and respected, because she's got that orange jewelry at her throat, at her heart, at her third eye. Her eyes are orange. But yeah, she's sitting on a pillow, but she's even, there's a skull below her hand that is what she's bleeding on. It's like going down her arm. And so it's like it's a depiction of having suffered. And under the deck, well, actually the second one that popped out was from the Kuan Yin deck, 12 Gates of Heaven, a very green depiction. And the Gates of Heaven card is talking about attachment energy. And here with this beginner's mind, it seems like this overachievement is something to do with our lessons of personal empowerment of our word, of our actions, of our self-worth. And it seems that it's intermeshed in some situations, self or otherwise, with this attachment, this codependent behaviors and ideologies. And so Gates of Heaven talks about if you're feeling drained, disrespected, negative, not yourself, then it's definitely time to cleanse and clear. And under the deck was 33, master number 33, Anahata Kali. That's the heart chakra of Kali. And you can see this crumbling away of that stoicism here. And it's like that aqua and red color. It's the higher heart and the root. It's very powerful above and below activation of I am the divine mother, hear me roar type of an idea. And this Matangi card is talking about the goddess of the goddess of the outcasts, what has been disregarded, dismissed, taken for granted, exploited, otherwise. She also is the ultra resourceful goddess who doesn't just throw things away, but puts them to good use instead of being a consumer and just devouring and throwing away and creating messes everywhere she goes. She repurposes, she creates. She's someone who sees the magic in the little things, who can read between the lines. She is the goddess mother that makes it all look easy. And I just want to read a little bit, if you'll indulge me. So she's the tantric queen of outcasts, unveiling hidden inner power to thrive outside of conventional society. She holds the secret teachings of power, of the voice, of the healing power of art and music. She's the divine feminine medicine for the lost, the alienated, those who have been cast aside. If you have been denied love and respect, she brings healing and empowerment. If you have suffered rejection, abandonment, or been labeled as unworthy in any way, she brings dignity and repair. She is the ignition of a creative, joyful, and vibrant life path. So she is the ninth of the wisdom goddesses, a wild, sparkling green goddess. The parrot is her symbol. She dwells outside of polite society. She's also shown often eating stale food, this symbol of her ability to gain nourishment from that which has been cast out, rejected, or discarded. To gain power from those situations and items that others can't find value in. So this is somebody who's resourceful enough that they don't go out to the malls and buy, $100 jeans for their kids, but they get those same jeans on the reject shack out on the thrift rack with a $10 price tag on them, She sees worth where others don't. So she's associated with pollution, unclean, and it's her ability to transmute, overcome impurity and toxic energies. So this includes poisons on all levels, especially that comes through those individuals that we're faced with our growth lessons. So she opens sacred pathways that bypass fear and the urge to move with the crowd, and releases constrictions on the soul and allows us for authenticity, deep inner aliveness to emerge. You'll feel increasingly like yourself if you have this going on, and you'll feel this freedom that galactic mushroom and the childhood situation was talking to me about, romanticizing or remembering a time where you had the freedom of privilege in some situation, such as being the child who's been cared for, and now feeling like the weight of the world rests on your shoulders like Atlas, where, if you were to stumble, everybody would be like, hey, you shook the TV. Can you take it easy? Just an example. I mean, these aren't personal. They're symbols, if you will. So she is the liberator. Her appearance in a reading implies that you cannot find fulfillment in the dreams another has dreamed for you. Winter's dream. Nor in the values that mainstream society holds. You have a path and a purpose that needs to break with these societal conditionings or familial conditionings. You can find a way to belong that does not compromise your essential self, but rather frees and empowers you to belong to yourself fully. This tantric emanation of Saraswati Matangi opens us to the esoteric power of speech, the realms of poetry, speaking, and writing that inspires and uplifts, the use of such words in such a way that they have the power to change another's state of being. Some may call this spell casting or even glamour. A beautiful teaching associated is that the devotee must treat all women with reverence and respect. She will not manifest her blessings where the feminine is criticized or desecrated. We use this power that she gives us to honor the sacred, and her power grows in us. To use such power to put another down is an act against the goddess and will manifest no benefit. So, her presence often indicates time when we are learning to use this spiritual power and responsibility as our influence expands. So, there's, of course, more in here. It's about shedding psychic contaminations. And it also says that, this doesn't require any type of additional restrictive fasts or purification rituals. But I do think that with the attachment card here, we are shedding some beliefs that do not serve and honor our soul. So if that does require you to cleanse your energies, you will know. Splitting to confidence and divinity. Confidence in your divine nature and in your ability to create divinity from perhaps maybe it's your actual family that's gotten into these ruts or into this disrespectful way of moving around each other or speaking with each other in a certain tone. Even if we understand it doesn't necessarily belong to us, still, why would you speak to us in a certain way? Why would we speak to others in that way? So there's a need to get back on the same page and to appropriately delegate what's been unfairly saddled to you as though you are some type of workhorse. So for many, if this is outside of the family dynamic, this can absolutely manifest in friendships or in obviously workplace dynamics where we're being given the lion's share because they know that we'll do it, where another person doesn't do half the work that we're even paid for and still takes home the same paycheck. Because they're an underachiever, nobody gives them more. But since you're an overachiever, you always get gifted more. So ask what the benefit of taking on more is going to provide for you. So what's love got to do with it? You know, what's in it for me? Let's speak real. Starseed. Yes, you are definitely this otherworldly personality who has come here with this convergence energy that keeps coming up. Being able to be all things to all people at one time is taxing, and it's going to require some confidence in our process and in our voice to set limits, because if we've chosen to incarnate in this earthly limiting situation, there are limits. There are physical limits, physics. This plane is a place of physical limitations, and we need to honor that. So remembrance and belief, change of mind. Look at all that limey greenish yellow. It's like being able to use our heart to speak the will of the divine into being and to preside over our lives for the highest good of all. When there's competing energies pushing together, this convergence energy, in order for unity to occur in the situation, is going to take a change of mind, perhaps on multiple fronts, in multiple personalities. That meeting, it might sound cheesy and something on Hallmark, but it's a real deal. You know, if something isn't working, it needs to come into balance for your health and well-being here. So what about one on the winter stream? Let's take a little shuffle. Innocence on the bottom. Faith. We had faith under the deck recently. So have faith that things are working in your highest interest, that you will speak things into a changed situation and dynamic, and have trust and faith that loving hearts will seek the way to connect across any misunderstandings. Throat chakra, music, singing, humming, using music to help you push through emotions. Every time I hear Canon in D by Pachelbel, it creates an emotional release for me. Ave Maria, same thing. I connect with certain songs, and maybe for you it's some thrash metal, whatever it might be. It's all good. So yeah, but speaking it, using the voice. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining. Take care, like, share, subscribe. On Matangi, one more. Caretaker energy, absolutely. 3223 when that came out. Yeah, take care of yourself first so that you have enough to give back to the situation. And on Gates of Heaven, contact. So perhaps you need to have some releasing situation and cleansing and purifying of any attachment energies, or maybe you need assistance with this. But it could also be some attachments from beyond. So take good care of yourself and gain support if you need. Heart chakra, rejuvenation, absolutely. Shifting. Thanks everybody for joining today. Come back again real soon and check out more messages. And until next time, take good care.